don't think, I think this may be true, has never worn the same outfit twice. She neither.
Might be true.
She always wears different jewelry. So we've all got thousands of photos of T, and each one of them's top notch. And she's wearing ludicrous earrings, and and they're different every time. I mean, she really puts a lot into that. So what's great is that if you have a T-shirt, you can.
Let me throw a monkey wrench in, because Lloyd was talking about the importance of speaking truth about the music and everything, and that as writers we shouldn't soft pedal it if we know somebody well, that can affect our reviews, and I'm getting the sense that in photography that's not so true. That you are trying to provide the flattering image, or at least not the unflattering image. That you're not going to critique their music by showing something ungainly, or capturing the music in some way that shows the awkwardness or a failure of the song or something like that.
I don't think it's a failure or awkwardness of the music or the song. It's just, and I don't think we're sugarcoating it either. It's just the truth of that person. I mean, I've caught video of mistakes in music and mistakes on stage, and the artist recovers. I'm also a dancer, so those things happen. The big thing is the R word. You have to recover. It's going to happen. You learn to recover and you move on. And so I keep those things in when I post, if I can, because it shows the artistry of that individual, that person is a consummate artist. The whole freaking thing fell down on the stage, and she was like, oh, okay. Or he was like, yeah, that's nice, and kept moving. So I think that shows more about the artistry of the artist than ignoring that or stopping the video before that and only showing the perfect part. I think there's a difference between showing truth and not being being unflattering. We're not like striving for perfection for the artist. Because the reach that you have now is so much wider than what it used to be. I mean, I'm really not trying to put somebody out there with their slip hanging or their zipper undone or whatever. That just is unnecessary for the reach that people have.
Isn't it also that this is different from writing? Photography can uniquely, by freezing that exact moment, get an expression that would be fleeting, that most people would not have noticed or would have seen in the whole context as you would with a video. And yet we've all seen pictures of perfectly beautiful people and Hollywood stars caught in that one split second where they look grotesque.
And it's now a meme.
And then it's a meme.
Right.
And so it strikes me that we're not getting away from the idea of showing the truth by being more careful when it comes to photography, because of photography's unique ability to capture the worst of somebody. Simply because it's that split second. It's not taken in the context of movement.
And that's the thing that you have to be aware of. And we had this debate, Marc and I, when we were in this photography collective, which was very interesting for a while. One of the younger members took a photo of Patty Blagojevich having just come out of the trial where her old man's getting set down. He's still there, of course. Trump was trying to sort that out.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's
So she's turning around and she's obviously just found out that the man of the household's going down, and she's got a grimace on her face. And this rather short photographer took a photo which was kind of a slap, and she's needless to say grimacing. And then he put it amongst us to say this is a great shot, and it was Marc who picked him up and said,
to say this is a grand.
a great shot. It's just a good look at the shot I just took of, and Marc's like, this isn't that a good shot. This is an awful shot. Go look at the guys who shoot the Sun Times and Tribune, And
Why did you say it was awful?
well, it wasn't honest. Should we put that, because it was a reaction shot.
Okay.
Was the issue I think that Marc was bringing up. You're interfering with the subject, so that she's grimacing in a way that doesn't give you a reportage.
So
So the grimace was in response to the shot, not the trial?
Right.
Oh, okay.
That's
Got it.
She was
Timing
responding to the photographer.
Photographer, not the
yes,
person.
so it's an issue of how much you as the photographer interfere with the subject and their reactions, and how honest they are.
Let's see,
Mark has a question.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to make this statement. I've got my own personal way of doing this kind of thing, which is that the photograph that I finally edit, has to fit with my sense of what was happening. Okay, that is the rule I use. And I can always find a lot of pictures that have nothing to do with my experience of the event, because that's the nature of photography. You get people putting their fingers in their noses, you get all sorts of things. But I look at it and I say, is this representative at my best to make this does this represent what I saw? If the answer is yes, then I go with it. And so there can be lots of different things. And they could include grimaces. They could include in strange looking things. So that's sort of that's where my integrity as a photographer sits. Is right in that process.
But not just what you saw,
Right.
but but your sense of the truth of the event.
Right.
This brings me back to another. I mean, you know, I come from. I was a general assignment photographer, and I'm not particularly. I mean, people here know me as a music photographer, but I've done a lot of different kind of stuff, and I did a lot of magazine work for a lot of different kinds of publications. The first time I got hold of Photoshop, I had done a picture of Obama on the night that he was elected to the U.S. Senate, and I had climbed up on a table, and I was sort of off to the side of him, and he was really facing this group of reporters, and all of the microphones and all of the cameras were pointing at him and so forth. And what my sense of that event was, this guy has become the magnetic focus of all of this media attention. And at a certain moment, he noticed me up there, and he and I had a relationship, and he turned toward me, and I took a picture. But at the same moment that I took this picture, and he turned toward me, one of the reporters in this crowd also was like, "Who's that?" and kind of spoiled my picture, because my sense of the truth of the event was everybody was focused on him, and then this woman in the middle of the crowd turned when he did and focused on me. So Photoshop was new to me at that point, and I sent Newsweek a Photoshop picture which identified where I had substituted a previous frame of her focusing on him, with him toward me. And my editor said, "Don't ever do that, or ever tell anybody you can do that." and I wasn't in any position to argue with her, but it made it very clear to me that unlike in writing, where nobody expects you to say, this happened, and then this happened, and then that happened, and then that happened, you lead with the most dramatic observation. Unlike in writing, photographers haven't, up until now, had the ability to create the truth of the moment from a multiple experiences of that moment. So to me, the photograph that I submitted, the Photoshopped photograph, was the truth of the moment, even though it was two moments. It was two different moments.
I'm going to get to Michael's photos, but since you're talking about this, and it's such a complete contrast to the other shot, Mark, was this more than one moment?
No, this is, I'm pretty sure this is just one moment. This is the Hungry, no, this is Katerina's, right, and our favorite old Jewish boogie woogie piano player, and the crowd of his great friends and admirers. No, this is just
And his band at that
yeah,
point.
right.
Also known as his great friend.
Yeah, great friends and admirers, right. No, this is.
But because Mark has a good relationship with these people, and he has been in this club a zillion times, look at how he framed this. It's difficult to get a shot that is a rectangle of a horizontal stream of musicians that's not completely distracting. And look at the details, the photograph, the cigarette, the chair framing it. I mean, it would be duller if that chair wasn't there and this was just a tablecloth. The shadow here, you know, closing the frame up, similarly on the other side. So, I mean, to me, Marc is excellent at capturing the relationships of multiple people at a single time on stage. And that's something that I look for quite a lot in performance photography. A lot of jazz performance photography is of a single musician. And frankly, I've gotten very bored with that as a format. I just, you know, there's too many of them. It doesn't show, that to me is not the truth of the music, which is usually a collaborative and interactive situation.
Right, it's always been my focus to look at the interaction between the musicians, the relationship between the musicians. I mean, you know, even when, especially when I was listening to very abstract music and you know, Fred Anderson and Kid Jordan were playing. It was like they're up there speaking a foreign language to me, because I'm not a musician. I mean, I don't really have a lot of context to understand the music as music. And for example, I never listen to that music on record. I just never do. I'm only interested in it live. But what I focus on in that situation is I focus on the relationship between Kid and Fred. Because whatever it is they're saying it to each other, first and foremost. And it's a conversation. It's a very lively and in-depth conversation between the two of them. And I'm just a witness to it. But they know what they're talking about. It's like they're singing in a completely foreign language to me. But they understand it, and I'm fascinated by the energy between them.
I loved it when he played Happy Birthday in a very high altissimo for Fred's birthday.
The other thing though, like what Lauren was saying and Michonne also about developing a relationship and having those chops internally, I mean, to me, this photograph is remarkable because what is that orange thing with the lamp doing there? But what it's doing is like focusing us on Irwin, who's the center of the band. It seems to me it's bringing, even though Catherine Davis, right, is looking at John, and he's looking at John, and this guy's kind of looking, Sam's looking, I don't know where. Sam's looking at the bassist or something.
Yeah, Catherine, I think.
Yeah, but your eye goes to Irwin.
Yep.
Now his eyes are there, almost center frame, so that has something to do with that. But I also think that orange accent does a lot there. And also you're shooting into the corner of the room. So the perspective is like all drawing you into that center. Now maybe you didn't think about that, but I bet while you were shooting, you were looking for a good place to stand to get them all.
Right.
And,
again,
you know,
it's a mistake that non-photographers make when they're talking about photographs. They talk about them in the same way that they're talking about paintings. Oh, you put that in. Well, no, I didn't put that in. I mean, I didn't put in that red thing there with the lamp. But I knew where to stand.
Yep.
You know, I kind of instinctively knew where to stand.
But it was more based on making sure you could see
Everyone.
Right.
than it was what was on the wall behind them.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And
Right.
that's my challenge.
let's look at some of Michael's work and then we'll try to get to Michonne's too. Yeah, let's look at the last one too, I'm sorry. So this is sort of the opposite and more along the lines of what you're saying about the Obama shot in a way. A big shot.
You playing guitar on that one, Marc?
Yeah.
He's in the band. Look at this.
It's a selfie.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, this picture This picture is my advertisement for, it all depends on the access that you're given.
Yes.
Yes.
1979, the first year that I photographed New Orleans Jazz Festival, I had an assignment from some, extremely prestigious magazine like Downbeat. And I could go anywhere, and so I could get on, I was behind the stage, obviously, and above the piano. They don't let me anywhere near there.
That's okay.
You were kind of famous for that.
Okay, let's look at some of Michael's men. So this is a fairly straightforward documentary shot in a lot of ways, would you say?
Yeah, I only just recently, very recently, scanned this for Mike Reed's book, The City Was Yellow. I knew I had this stuff from 2004, but I had no real reason to look at it because, other than Von fans, it's not an editorial shot. For me, it's about this relationship. She's smiling at the moment, but those who knew Reezy, she was pretty tough. I actually got a shot, which is also in Mike's book, behind the bar of the cake. And I used to go every year, as Lauren and Marc did, to Von's birthday. And I love cake shots. In fact, one of Marc's legendary cake shots with Muddy Waters in the projects, was one I'd always. Is it in there? Yeah. Show 'em. It's a lovely shot, and I always thought, wow, that's a lovely community shot. So that might be in the back of my mind. But I got one that ran in the Sun Times for the obit, and it's also in the Mike Reed book in black and white, behind the amoeba-shaped bar at the New Apartment Lounge. But you can't get behind there because Wheezy would police it. You go around there. So I had to have a little word. This is birthday visit number 6 or 7 when, one year I brought a cake for Von, and I thought it'd be really funny to have some of those candles in that don't go out, and it was an absolute nightmare because they do not go out. We tried to put them out. We got some napkins, and the napkins went up in fire. I'm surprised the smoke alarm if they have one didn't go.
But I wouldn't call this a straight documentary shot. I would
No.
call this a portrait.
It is a pose shot. In fact, the reason it is like that is because 2004, and I think it might have been through Lauren, you got a call from this jazz festival in the far north of Scotland, in a place called Nairn, and they asked, they rang the Jazz Institute and said, does anyone want to come from Chicago and do a photo exhibition?
I have no memory of this.
You don't remember?
Whatsoever.
And Lauren's like, where? And I thought to myself,
Oh, I did have to write a letter.
something like that. But I thought this would be great. I can go back to home, Scotland, it's the same landmass, I see all my family, of course they're all going to come up to see my show. So, as a result of that, I'm going to make it fantastic. I'm going to have like 70 photographs, Oh, I'm going to really take it to town. So I did that year. It was really nice to have that, because I went and I thought, well, obviously Von and Fred. I took one that's hanging in constellation of Fred. I wouldn't have got that were it not for this show. I wanted to make the icons of Chicago and take them to Scotland. It was an interesting show because they had the event. They were importing 2 cooks from Chicago, from True, and they were trying everything Chicago. So I had to take photos of the Chicago theatre and other stuff. It was an interesting experience. None of my parents, my family gave a shit about my show, and none of them came up. My mum's like, the traffic's terrible. My cousin, my darling cousin who loves jazz. Oh no, I'll have to tell you the full stuff. No, it's too boring. No, okay.
Another shot.
Anyway, get back to this. So,
okay.
so I shot this for that, and therefore, as Marc points out, I posed Von. Now, these amongst us, certainly the photographers, we shot Von 1 million times, and he wasn't actually very interesting to shoot when he was playing the saxophone. It was when he got off the saxophone and he grimaced or he did various gestures to the band. That was the paradox of Von. He was very, this this amazingly encompassing character, but actually he was a serious musician, and you don't hear that in his ebullient style. You know, he had all these shrieks and effects that suggested his explosive joy. But now, more than ever, if you listen to Bond's playing, he's a monster. You know, I mean, the hours he put on. So I was just listening to his first record, Do the Right Thing, the other night, which I hadn't really listened to properly before. It's got Sam Jones on bass, killing it, and Jimmy Cobb. Roland Kirk put the day together. And they play a tune called Brother George, which is on rhythm changes. Yes. No, but it's relevant somehow. Is it?
No.
No?
No.
Who says no? Isn't it?
But
So
it's
it might be
you.
coming back.
But it's you, Mike.
Did you bring a light for this? Is this?
Yes, no, actually, I thought it was relevant. I hate you guys. Anyway, no, just a minute. It was, no, maybe not. Okay, so I did bring a light, actually, and you can see, if you look at Bond's face, it is a bit of a frozen smile. He's kind of like, it is a little bit posed. It's like, okay, Michael, because when I first came to Chicago, and Vaughan is part of the reason.
Mike.
What? He's part of the reason. Well, it's a subject, you've got to understand what's behind wanting to photograph the guy in this way, if you don't understand what is involved in this guy. So I wanted him off the horn, and I wanted him smiling a little reluctantly, but Wheezy's going for it, she's doing a great job.
So why should you soft focus?
I put several lights. I think I put a light behind him and a light over here and a remote flash. And I took a series, and they're classic, aren't they? Yeah, classic. Absolute fucking classic. And what I'm saying is, sorry, I shouldn't be doing that. It's so lovely to have been here during that period, which is now, you know, being a bit, you know, gilded as a result of time, and having had, against the odds, the desire to shoot. I mean, obviously it was a fun scene down there, and us who were into jazz, we all thought, I knew about the lounge on Tuesday night, where else would you want to be? But I took, for example, someone who brought me up to the Montreal Jazz Festival. You know, she was the liaison.
Could we have her by?
Okay.
Please?
And she came down there to the apartment lounge, and she's like, I want to go see Marilyn Manson at the Metro. You know, what you brought me here to see these old people?
Next photo.
All right, so,
How did,
oh, well, I don't know. This one, this is a series I did at Cahill's Loft on a sunny day. And it was, obviously, Dwight Tribble is this extraordinary character who just totally goes for it. I mean, there's absolutely no holding back. I mean, he's got that shamanistic thing that, of course, Cahill tries to inspire, you know. And what's nice, you can't see it so much here, but there's twisted things in the background are Lucy Cahill's ladies' sculptures, and they're all around this space. And he's twisting in this kind of like tarantula sculpture of hers in the background's twisting as well. And he's at that moment of complete, the audience is irrelevant.
is he standing on your stomach?
Well, no, and the sun came in from a skylight, and it's just, I mean, I think that's a terrific photo itself.
Where are you sitting? Where are you standing though, really? You're below him.
Yeah, I was crouching, I was looking, I could see something was going on that was beautiful with the light, and I thought, right, I've got this.
So do you frequently get up close?
Well, I've got into trouble in the past. I'll tell you one story that's rather good. No? Not visual?
Let's do the next photo. The good one. This is at the Jazz Journalists Association Jazz Awards a couple of years ago. And I think this is one of the hardest things to do.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
And Marc is really good at it, and Michael is excellent at it. And Michonne, maybe you're great at it, I don't know, I haven't seen it.
I very rarely do.
If you notice here, you can see almost everybody's face.
Yeah, this takes, that's great.
And,
A lot of chat.
But you know what, Howard?
yeah, I do.
It's not what I wanted, because you need a bigger set of steps. And Mark knows this.
A bigger set of steps up.
I needed more steps, and I went nuts there, because that place is a Manhattan School or whatever. They had no, because whenever I do those shots, they can't take steps from the school. So I always say